Hi everyone, I'm Jia. I know about half this crowd, but it's good to see all these new faces. So what I'm going to talk about today is charity fundraising and social games, or playing Farmville for good. I'm first going to go into basically what Couchange does, which is the current startup I have now. So the reason why I know some of you is just a few years ago I used to run a gaming startup in the area called Town. We made exercise gaming systems for seniors. So like the Wii Fit, but for the 60-plus crowd. The actual mechanics of it was like DDR for old people, which is a great combo, right? But no, we have safety bars too. That company was actually acquired. We actually got out, exited, okay, we sold it in the summer of 2008, right before the big crash. So it was good timing on that. After I sold the company, I went back to where I was born, Chengdu, China, because it got just hit by a devastating earthquake. This was summer of 2008. So I found myself, this is a picture right after the earthquake in Chengdu, the Sichuan earthquake, in the area assisting with disaster relief. And while I was there, all the kind of relief workers and NGO staff I met with had the same growing concern. It was now the fall of 2008, and they were hearing this dire news of collapsing global markets. And they're asking, what does it mean? What does this mean for our fundraising? Will we have to lay off staff, eliminate programs, or maybe even shut down entirely because we can't meet our fundraising goals? There's this sense of panic in the air. Like, how does the nonprofit industry react to this? What does the economic crisis mean? So I started working on this technology with my friends in the area to develop alternative fundraising solutions. I'll just go, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just go without my, hopefully to reassure them that it's best not to panic, but maybe some cautious exploration of new ways of fundraising would be a good idea. Which is why we developed Couchange, which is a universal online donation platform, mainly converting abandoned assets, things like leftover gift cards, your flyer miles that are about to expire, digital type currencies, including, your Facebook points and your Farmville, whatchamacallits. I don't actually play Farmville. Or I won't admit it publicly. But to kind of briefly go into kind of our donation process is, we just take the digital information, liquidate it on existing secondary markets, work with GuideStar, the world's largest online charity database, to donate, convert this into cash, to be able to easily donate to over 1.7 million registered charities, and then issue you an instantaneous donation receipt. The reason why we picked gift cards is it's an $8 billion a year, or $8 billion worth of gift cards are abandoned every year. There's that much kind of unredeemed gift cards in the U.S. economy, and that's cumulative. And so with the 8 gift cards now with the new Obama legislation, accumulate for at least 5 years, and there's just a lot of found money, untapped, near cash assets that you can use for charity donations. If we could just mobilize 5% of that, we would have a huge snowball effect. We would literally become, the 4th largest donor in the world, right before, a couple steps behind Bill Gates. We're not quite there yet. We have to add more asset types. So we're not just doing gift cards. We're at 90% of all gift cards right now, moving up to 99%. And we're adding things like frequent flyer miles and reward points. But the thing you guys are probably interested in this middle part. So, private currencies on social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and virtual worlds, World of Warcraft or Second Life. And that's what I'm mainly going to be talking about. So, I'm going to give you a condensed 30-year history of charity in social games, online games, really quickly. So, in the 1980s, MUDs, everything back then, text-based, but you still had charity drop boxes. All MUDs, most MUDs, were run as collective charities. People were doing it just for fun, and people would donate things to everybody. You would literally just toss junk in like the common area and people would pick it up, the newbies. 90s, Ultimate Online, still a lot of communal type stuff. I actually used to play on a role-playing server back in the day, and people would actually form these kind of collectives. It was a group of players acting as orcs in a big fort, and then another collective of basically nature-loving druid hippies that lived really nearby. And you can imagine what would happen. The orcs usually won. But the kind of thing, like the kind of collective living kind of situation, the kind of shared wealth and resources was found even in the early days of online gaming and social gaming. In the 2000s, we entered into modern fundraising. So this is the campaign that was done in the early 2000s by Child's Play, which a lot of people in this will probably support. It's the Penny Arcade charity. Yeah, they did a thing with EverQuest and EverQuest 2 that if you bought something, that money would go, the end-game currency would convert over into real-world donations. Similar things were done in their.com. Remember that, guys? It shut down like earlier this year. But you know, it started very early. Now in 2010, I think we're at the tipping point. So I spoke at conferences about this in 2009. You know, I even had a panel of talks about this, and we did it at E3 and State of Play and all the login of the other gaming conferences. In 2009, people were still quite skeptical. Social gaming was still kind of getting more and more market share. People were only raising thousands, tens of thousands. But this year, Blizzard raises over $1 million for Make-A-Wish in 2 months. Zynga raises $1.5 million for Haiti in 5 days. $2.7 million over the last year. Like, it's becoming a real phenomenon. Large amounts of money are being raised for charities. So what is the future now? What is the future of philanthropy and virtual world? This is actually from Second Life. This was submitted by a guy at the MacArthur Foundation. They have kind of dirty minds. I'm going to go really quickly. I think the future is converting virtual items to real-life funds. It's not, the future isn't in Second Life. This is from Hello Kitty Online. I love using this graph because it shows like converting real things to like real food. Like, you literally are converting food like, strawberry cake, well maybe not that, but like bread into real bread for developing countries and so forth. Mainstream adoption, so this is a picture from my WoW guild. We do charity events both in WoW and also when we meet up at PAX or some other type of events. There are caveats though. So even though Zynga was very successful with it, there's a lot of criticism about Zynga. They ran 2 successful campaigns for Haiti, but they actually got a lot of bad PR. Because at one campaign, I don't know if you can read this, it was at 50%, they donated half the money. This was like a few years ago. It was just for Haiti economic development. And it was a successful campaign. They raised, like almost $1 million. And then recently, they did another campaign for Haiti where 100% of the proceeds were donated. But there was confusion. People thought they were still taking like 50%, so there was a lot of criticism about how you run these. So it's becoming like, any kind of fundraising thing, there's more third parties auditing the systems, which is what we do. I also think there's a lot of potential in kind of mobile geolocation, mobile apps. Sorry about that, Sean. This is an example of a co-op, which is basically like Foursquare for social good. Thank you for your time, and if you want to hear more, my next talk is about fundraising through imbibing vintage cocktails. We're going to do a fundraiser at the Emberley Firehouse Lounge. If you want to actually hear about it, follow straight to it. Woo!
You guys have any questions for John?
Yeah. I can't disclose this as a private deal, but we had a good return on investment. Got it. No questions about charity? What?
When is the next one?
Oh, this thing, it'll probably be in the next couple of weeks. We haven't settled on a time yet, but it will be at the Embery, which is Pittsburgh's one of the few vintage handcrafted cocktail bars. And your first drink should probably be free. I think they're going to donate the first drink. It's underneath the Firehouse Lounge. They're owned by the same people. Yeah?
It seems like there's a good possibility for fraud in this kind of environment.
Yeah, with the Zynga example, even though they did it honestly, there's the suspicion of fraud and
So what are some of the steps that you take to sort of assure people and ensure that?
Well, I think the future of it is with us, rather than the companies running these campaigns themselves, they need a third party to basically audit it, make sure all the money gets to the charity, they're converting at the rate that they promise, that sort of thing. Similar to what eBay does with Mission Fish. If you ever do a charity auction on eBay, eBay doesn't do it. They actually work with a third-party nonprofit that audits the system. So that's basically what we do.
What about these kinds of converting online currency into real money? Is kind of in a gray market or black market? Like some games.
Yeah, what we're talking about is we only convert stuff that, like, on the secondary market, like gift cards. In the social space, we actually don't convert on the secondary market because most operators, publishers don't like that. What we actually do, this gets kind of technical, is we actually are like a hard currency gold sink. We reduce the hard currency monetary supply, so there is an inflation in the hard currency. I'm not sure if people understand that, but basically, when you have a soft currency, which is the Indian currency, and the hard currency, which you convert real world dollars for, like the Fed or something, you basically have a license to print money. And if you print too much money, it causes inflation. So you actually need a way to destroy money. We destroyed a hard currency and turned it into charity donation. So we work directly with the publishers. Thanks, guys.